All right, so let's talk about unconditional election. First thing I want to get out of the way is this, that the doctrines of election and predestination are not solely Calvinistic. The doctrine of election is not a Calvinistic doctrine. It is a Christian doctrine. We see this idea of election popping up over and over and over again. We see it in the New Testament. We see Jesus talking about it in the Olivet Discourse. He talks about the elect. We see like Paul talking about it in Ephesians 1. He goes on to talk about it in Romans 9. That'll be a lot of what this discourse is going to be in these shorts. We see First Peter talking about the elect. I think Jude talks about the elect. And so this idea of elect and election is all over the New Testament. It's actually talking also about the Old Testament. So the election means God's choosing of a people for himself. In the Old Testament, that is a national election with Israel. And in the New Testament, it's about the church. In the Old Testament, it's about the ethnic group. And in the New Testament, it's about the evangelized group. Okay, so the doctrine of election is not just a Calvinistic doctrine. It is a Christian doctrine. The doctrine of predestination is also not a Calvinist doctrine. It is a Christian doctrine. Both Calvinists and Arminianists would believe that God predestines those who come to faith in him. Now, how he does that and why he does that is where we're going to differ, and what that all means is where we're going to differ in those. But predestination is a Christian doctrine. It comes from the pages of Scripture, and we just have to wrestle with that. Paul talks about in Ephesians, talks about in Romans 8, and so these are not, I want to say it again so we're clear, they're not just Calvinistic doctrines. These are Christian doctrines, and we differ on what we mean by them and how we view them. And so that's important for this discussion.